Today we're going to be making a custom wallpaper for your mobile phone. Welcome back, everyone. Let's get into this new project. So for first thing we want to talk about is the size of your smartphone screen. Now all of them are different, so you'll have to choose the one that best fits the phone that you have. On the screen you will see a diagram of some of the most popular phones. Unfortunately, the one that I use is not on this. I'm using the iPhone SE, so mine will be a little bit different. And if your phone is not listed on this chart, all you have to do is a Google search for the screen size or wallpaper size. That's probably better. Wallpaper size of the iPhone, blah blah blah, whatever your phone is, the Google Pixel, the Samsung, whatever. So just do that and you'll find out what your dimensions are, so you'll know what size canvas to create. So let's get started. Click on the little plus here to make our new canvas, and then whatever your size is, that's the one you're going to plug in there. And mine is, what was it? 640 by 1136. And remember, this is going to be in a vertical frame rate, not a horizontal. So I'm going to just go ahead and click, because I've already created it once before, but 640 by 1136 pixels is the one that I'm using. Okay, here we are. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to go create our background. We're not going to use the background color here. We're going to create a new one. And for the brushes, let me see what I got for you guys today. I've got the soft brush, I got the inker, the streamline inker, the monoline assisted, and I got you a tree stamp brush. So I think we're going to just use maybe the inker first to color in our pictures, our colors, our base colors. And then in your palettes, I gave you, this palette has lots of colors in it. So we're going to start with this first color right here. And we're going to color in this top corner. Probably make brush quite big. And we're going to get a kind of a dark purple in this top corner, just like that. And then we're going to go down to our next color here. This darker purple, or kind of lighter purple, I guess. And just put some of that in there. And then next, we're going to do the next color, which is this one right here. And do the same thing. So just like we're getting a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter. The next one, which is 1, 2, 3, the fourth color. We're going to do that one. I think that might be the last one. Let me check to make sure. Maybe this one. Let me see. Yeah, I think it's that last one. Okay. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth color here will be the last one. We're just going to go ahead and complete that one in right there. So you're going to have something that looks like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go up to Gaussian blur. So hit your little magic wand there, go to Gaussian blur, and then we're going to move our pen to the right side until you can see it starting to blur. Now if you go too far, it's going to kind of just put everything together, which we don't want. We want this gradient. So I'm going to back off here to about maybe 29. I think that looks good. And then we'll hit the little magic wand again. So there's our background. That's what we're going to start with here. Now we're going to do lots of layers on this, and with the screen sizes of the canvas that we had, it doesn't matter what iPad you have, you're going to be able to do lots and lots of layers. So don't worry about that, but we want to try to keep them organized so that we don't get mixed up. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this to background. And actually I'm just going to put BG. Okay, and then on top of that, we're going to start a new layer. And the first thing we're going to do is let's do some mountains. So go up here on our color palette and maybe this second column, first color here. Click on that one. And I'm going to change to the monoline assisted brush. We're going to put us a mountain in here. And you can make it any way that you want. It doesn't matter exactly how it looks. Just make it yours. So let's start about, and what you want to do is make sure that you come from one side of the screen. You're going to go all the way to the other side of the screen. It's going to help us fill in the color. So I'm going to, this bottom part's going to be hidden by other stuff that we draw. So I'm just going to come across right here. And I want my mountain to start coming up like this. And just put a little bit of jaggies in it. And come back down on this side. And just go off the other side of the screen. And then what you can do is you can take this color and drag and drop it in there. And there you have your kind of first mountain. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to make another mountain. And we're going to make a new layer on top of that. And the color we're going to choose is this 1, 2, 3rd color on the second row. It's kind of a grayish color. And we're going to stay with the monoline assisted brush there. And this mountain is going to go over on this side. And what we want to do is we come up from the edge here. We can make it kind of jagged. And then make it come down right here. And I'm just going to take it off the other side of the screen here. So that way we can go ahead and fill that in. So there's our second mountain. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make one more mountain. And the color is going to be this 1, 2, 3, 4th, 5th color from the left side on the second row. Stay with the monoline, and this mountain's going to go in about, I want the peak to be about right here. So I'm going to bring it down on this side, and then I'm going to take this peak. I'm going to take this one. Oops, I didn't want to go that much. I want it to be jagged, but not that big of a lump in it. There we go, and let's fill that one in. Okay, so this one's that color. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do a new layer. Let me undo that. Uh-oh. You gotta be careful with that. I make those mistakes. So another layer on top of that. Let's do this again. So I'm gonna come in. Let me see where I wanted the peak at. I wanted the peak to be about right here. Take that down here and then. What was that shake? Okay, there we go. No, don't do that. Fill that one in. What happened? Did I not go to the edge? Yeah, that's in the edge. Did I not touch it? Ah, that's what I did. I didn't connect them here. You can always tell when something's not doing what it should be. Probably got a gap somewhere. So now, there we go. We filled it in. Okay, so there's our 3 mountains that we're going to make. And next what I want to do is, before we start adding any details, is kind of put in all of the major points into the illustration here. So next what we're going to do is we're going to put a couple of lands masses coming in from the left and right. So go back to your colors here again. And the first landmass is going to be on the 3rd row in that first column right there. I'm going to stay on that same brush and make a new layer. I want to forget that. We'll have all of these objects on different layers. And this one I want to come down to about right here. I'm going to take it up over like that. And then make sure I connect them here. Take this bottom part. I didn't connect it, but I'll go back and fix that. I'm going to take it off to the side over here. Here we are. We got to make sure these are connected there, and then we're going to fill that in. Okay, actually it didn't fill in here. Clean that up a little bit. Make sure we don't have any gaps. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so there's one landmass we're going to put in. And then we're going to put another one on the other side. And its color is going to be this. Wait a minute. Let me make sure I got the right one. That's going to be the highlight. That's going to be the darker one. Yeah, it's this one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the third row. And we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to start maybe about right here. We're going to bring it up. Did I make a new layer? No, I didn't. Undo. New layer. Let's do this again. Okay, so we're going to start about right here. We're going to come up over there and make sure I connect these and take this off over to there and then fill that in. And there we go. We got our two land masses there. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to put some rocks, and the colors I chose for the rocks are right here. So on the second row here, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that reddish color right there. That's going to be one of our rocks, and we're going to start maybe here and just come down. Work out, but that's fine. Fill that in. I bet you I didn't do a new layer, did I? No, I didn't. I keep doing it. Okay. We can fix it. We can fix it, no problem. It's good that I'm making these mistakes because it's going to show you how to fix them. So that's why I don't correct anything in the videos, which I hope you guys appreciate that. So let's do this again. We're going to start up here. I'm going to come down like that. Maybe another one, and then maybe one more. Okay, and then let's fill that in. So there's our rocks on one side. And then we're going to do some more, maybe about right here. And fill that one in. And I didn't start a new layer on this one because it's okay to keep the rocks on the same layer. Okay, there's two right there. Okay, we're going to do some more on the other side here now. And these colors, I'm going to start a new layer just to make sure I don't forget. These are going to be this light peach color here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from the left on the bottom row. Okay, so we're going to do kind of the same thing. You can make it a little bit different. I'm going to come in. Maybe like that, and just follow the green part here. Make sure, I think I got a gap there. Make sure I fill that in. Okay. Yeah, I like it. So that's going to be that one. This one down here, I think I'm going to, this one is kind of very similar to that, but once we add the details in it, it's going to be a little bit different. So I think I'm going to go with the same colors as I did on these ones over here. So I'm going to grab that color just by holding my finger down until the color picker comes up. And then we're going to put another one in about right here. And we're going to do kind of what we did over there. I'm going to fill that in. Okay, so there is our 4 kind of rock faces, and you know something else I want to do. Actually, we'll do that later. I'll show you what I'm going to do. This part here on the bottom is going to be a kind of a river, I guess. So let's add that part in, and we're going to put this under everything. That way we don't have to worry about going around these edges and anything. It'll be behind everything. So let's do it. We don't want it behind the mountains, because if I do that, it's going to be, we're not going to be able to see it right there. So we want it in front of the mountains, but under all of the land masses. So probably this layer 4 here. I don't know if yours will be the same, but the big pink mountain that we made. Okay, and the watercolor is going to be, it's going to be different. So, but the first color we're going to start with the water is going to be probably this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 one from the left. Oh, wait a minute, that is our, no, that's it. The 6th one from the left. Yeah. All right, and what we're going to do with that is we're going to put some water back here. And I'm going to do it behind. I'm going to start out behind. And then it's just going to go, oops, don't cut that corner there, all the way over to the edge there. And then this one is going to do the same thing all the way to the edge. And then when we fill it in, it's going to fill it all in. So just make sure that it goes to both sides of the screen there. Okay, and this one is going to be kind of like a gradient like we did on our background. So what I want to do is I want to change my brush to the inker brush. And then the next color will be the one next to the grayish color that we did. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th one on the first row. And we're going to make this a bluer color. Got a big brush there. So about like that. And then the next one will be this really light, pretty blue here. We're going to go ahead and finish that in. Okay, and the same thing we're going to do like we did on our backgrounds. We're going to go to the wrench icon. We're going to go to Gaussian blur so that we can blend these colors in. So to drag your pen to the right until it kind of blends in. So I'm going to go about 11% there. Now, one thing it's going to do is it's going to blur the very back of it, which is going to give it that fuzzy edge, which we don't want. So take your eraser tool and let's do erase so we can get that hard line back in there. And I'm going to do it just a little bit past those land masses there. So now we got our hard line back in there. So our water's looking good. Our sky's looking good. We got our mountains in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start putting our details into our mountains. So what I want to do is go back to our, I guess, monoline brush. And then our first mountain was, I think it was this pink one. You can turn them off to see, no, it was this one right here. So it was this layer 2. You can turn it off and on to find out, make sure you're on the right one. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a layer above that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a clipping mask. So what a clipping mask does is it only allows you to paint on the thing that's under it. So it won't paint on anything else. If I try to paint on this mountain down here or this land, it won't work. It will only let me go on this up here. Okay. Undo that. And the color that we're going to do, the mountain was this. Okay, that was our background colors. The mountain was this kind of peach color. So I think the background is going to be the second color from the left on the second row. That's going to be our shadow. And what we're going to do is we're going to start at the peak here, and we're just going to come down and kind of make it jagged. Can make some gaps in it like that, so whatever, and then we're going to make it come to about right there. and then back up along the edge, and then connect it back up there, and then we can go in and fill it in. And there is going to kind of be a shadow on the right side of that mountain. Now what you can do if you want to put some more details is take our pen size down really low there, and then we can put some little jaggedness in it and just kind of fill that in. So you can get these little different kinds of shapes in here. A little variety. And we got this big one right here, so maybe kind of make it a little sharper. You can do basically anything you want. You don't have to copy mine exactly. I mean, see what your creations can make. Don't be scared. Okay, so I'm going to leave it about like that. I think that's good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing on these other mountains. So what you want to do is we want to target this second mountain right there next, and I think it's this one right here. It's true. And then we're going to create a layer on top of that. So always remember, when you create a new layer, whatever layer you're on is going to do it above that. And then we're going to clip it, clipping mask. And then the color for that one is going to be, our mountain was this color, and I put the shadow right next to it. Okay, we're going to do the same thing over here. So we can't go outside the line, so we're going to start kind of the middle and then make it jagged. And I'm going to come down to about there. Okay, and then we need to connect it. So remember, it's not going to let us go outside the mountain there. It's just not going to show it. So drag and drop it. So there's our shadow in the next one. And again, like we did on the first one, we can take our brush size down and we can put some more kind of details in it right here. We'll do it right there, and we'll do a big one here. Make sure I can see this and not have any gaps. You might want to change your brush to the inker instead, because this assisted one, it makes it really hard to color. So if you just want to go back to the inker, oops, wow, that's too big. Bring that down way much. Okay, and then you can go ahead and fill it in. It's a lot easier to fill that in. All right, I think I like that. And we're going to do the same thing on this one right here. So again, it's this pink one right there. You're going to do a layer, new layer on top. You're going to clip it. And then the color should be next to it, which will be this one right here. And I'm going to go back to my assisted one there, monoline assist. We're going to do the same thing on here. Start the tip and just make some jaggies. Go about right there and come up. Oops, don't make no gaps there. And connect them in and go ahead and fill that in. And there you go. We got some shadows on the right sides of our mountains now. Okay, so now let's go in and put some, you know what? One thing that I'm not liking is, I guess it really don't matter, but I didn't really want to have this mountain here coming in and being seen on this side. So what I'd like to do is have this middle mountain here cover that up. So I'm going to go back to that middle mountain there and click on the color, just hold it down. We're going to just fill that in. Here we go. Yeah, that looks better. I didn't like the way that was coming in. And actually this one too, didn't know where the rocks were going to come in, and I kind of wanted them to hide that out. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing on this one. So that was the first one we made. And what we're going to do is going to erase it. So I want this to, actually that's too big. Bring that eraser size down a little bit. I'm going to take all this side out right here. So then we got our mountain coming down there. That's better. That's what I want. And then this one coming off the edge over there, that's fine. Okay, next let's do some details into our rocks here. So go back to your monoline brush, and then the rocks were this red color was the first one over here on that one. So right next to it on the right side is going to be the shadow color, not shadow, but kind of details. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to take some darker colors and start on, oops, what did I not do? I was still on the mountain layer, so let's undo that stroke and go to the layer that has the mount or the rocks on it. Create a new layer on top of that. Let's clip it. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to bring in this dark color here. And then you can fill it in. That's going to give us the details and some spots in there. I'm going to take those out. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to extend this a little bit to over here. Okay, that looks fine. And then let's do another one about right here. Fill in those holes. Let me do one more. Right there. Fill that in and then make sure you clean up anything that didn't get filled in correctly. Okay, so that's good. Now what I'm going to do is going to do a really thin line here. And we're going to do some really thin ones here. Like that. Maybe one down here. Okay, I like that. That's good enough. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on the bottom one here using the same color. And I think they're both on the same layer. They are. So we just stay where we're at. And what we're going to do is do another one here. Fill that in. Oops, I undid it. That's what happens when I don't wear my glove. Sometimes when I put my palm on it, it thinks I'm wanting to undo it. Okay, so there's one like that. Let's do another one here. I'm going to kind of extend that one and come all the way over here. Make sure off to the side, fill that in. Clean up the gaps here. Okay, and now we want to do that very thin line that we did before. Make sure the size of your brush is pretty small, and then let's just bring one out to there. Maybe another one out to here. Okay, that's good enough. All right, now on the other side, so those were on different layer, remember, so we'll go to that layer, make one on top of it, we'll clip it, and then the dark colors for the red rock here are going to be basically the same. So I'm going to do the same thing, just come down, maybe over here, fill that in. Over here, fill that in. Make sure you get those get, what's going on? I think my brush is too small. Got a spot on there for some reason. I'm not sure what layer that's on. Oh well, you can't really see it that good. This doesn't make it that much of a difference. Let's do another one down here. Okay, that looks good. And then maybe make it really thin again, and maybe another line like this. Maybe one down here. Okay, I like that. Okay, for this one, it's going to be a little bit different because the color's a little bit different. So if we look for that, what color did I use for that rock? I think this one right here. So right next to it, it's a little bit darker, and we'll be on the same layer because these two rocks were on the same layer. And then basically we're just going to do the same thing. Fill it in. What I'm doing, if you don't know what I'm doing there, is when it fills it all in, is this is a color threshold, because if you just drag and drop it, sometimes it leaves little gaps in it. So what you can do is, so for example, if I make this one right here and I want to fill it in, don't pick up your pencil yet and just keep sliding it to the right. And you don't want it all filled in, but you want to bring it back to the left until just right there, but still it's not doing it, so we'll have to go ahead and fill these in. Okay, that looks good. Let's go ahead and do one more, and we'll just take the bottom of this here. I want to make it get this whole bottom part here. And this is not going to fill in because I have so many lines. So what I'm going to do is go to my inker. I'm just going to head and fill this in. You might want to do this to begin with. I mean, it makes it a little bit easier to do it that way. Okay, and there's that one. If we want to do some of those thin lines like we did before, go back to the streamline brush, make sure it's low. Then we can put these lines. Over like that. Okay, I like it. There we are. We've got our mountains done, the shadows on it. We've got our rocks done. We've got the details on it. And what I want, now that we got our water in there, what I want to do is I'm going to put some rocks in the water. And what I'm going to do is take this, and maybe this lighter color of the red rock, and then let's put that on the same layer as these red rocks are on. So that layer right there. And then I'm just going to put some little rocks in the water here. So maybe one here. Let's see if we can fill that in. Yep. Just get that gap done there. There's one little rock. Okay, let's do another one about right here. Fill that one in. And then let's do another one maybe over here. You have 3 rocks sticking up out of the water. Okay, looks good. So we're going to keep those there. All right, next what we're going to do is let's do some details on our little lands that we got here. So what we're going to do is this green. Make sure that's the right one. We're going to do a layer on top of it, and we're going to clip it like we usually do. And then we're going to put some shadows and highlights into this. So in our colors, our land was this first one on the bottom row here. So the lighter one is going to be our highlights. And I'm going to go back to the monoline assisted brush again. I'm going to put some highlights on the very top of this thing. So again, starting over here from the edge of our screen, kind of make some jaggies, and then come off the edge, and we're going to take it around the top of it, come off the edge of the screen again, and we fill that in. Make sure we get these little parts that didn't do well, fill those in good. And there we got a highlight on top of our rock there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a shadow on the bottom. So we're back to our colors again. So we had the green was our base color, the white wood lighter was our highlight, and then this third one here, darker one, is going to be on the bottom here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come on the edge of the screen again, from the side over here, maybe do a jagged there, and we're going to come all the way to the tip. And I'm going to bring it all the way back to the other side of the screen. Fill that in. And there we go. We got our highlight and our shadow on this side. Now, if you wanted to do something a little bit more stylized, what you could do is take this base color here. Now, I'm not going to give you this color, but just kind of give you an idea of what you can do. So we got that base middle color there. And then if you go to the classic here out of the palette section, you can go lighter or darker. So just bring it down a little bit darker, and then go to a soft brush like that. And we're still on that top layer there. And then we're going to make a kind of a bigger size and maybe opacity down to about half, 50% maybe. And then you can bring in some darker from the edge, and it kind of gives it a little bit more depth. So you can see it kind of gives it a gradient from the side to over to there. So if you want to do that, I mean, you can do that for everything actually. You can even do it to our rocks here. So we could take this darker color here, make it a little bit darker, go to our layer with the rocks, which is this one, and then the details up here. And then you could kind of bring it in a little darker color on the edge. So it just kind of gives it a little bit more. If you want to do that, just kind of experiment with it. Kind of like that. Do it over here. Oh, that's on a different layer. That's on this one right here. Okay, and then this one here. Take that darker color, and then we're going to make it even a little bit darker. And come in from the side. So if you wanted to do that, I mean, there you go. It just gives it a little bit more. That's fine. Okay, so what can we do next? Let's do the same thing that we did on that side over on this side. So this was our land. Make a new layer on top of that. Clip it. And then if we want to do the same thing we did over there, make it darker. A little bit darker color. Still on our soft brush. Make it a little bit bigger. Not that big. Just come in from the side. Just give it a little bit. Okay, we're going to go back to our monoline brush. And then the highlights. So let's go back to our palettes. So our highlight our base color was this one right here. So our highlights is going to be the one next to it. And what we're going to do, we're just going to draw some little highlights on the top here. Maybe jaggies. Fill that in. Oops, I touched the line. Oh, you know what it's doing? It's going on that dark part that we did. So I'm going to change my brush to the inker. And we're just going to color it in. If we wanted to do it where we were able to fill it in, we could have just done this highlight on a new layer. But I'm just going to do it like this. Maybe make my brush a little bit smaller so I can get this tight part. Okay. So there's our highlight, and then the shadow one is going to go on the bottom of that, and it's going to be this next to your highlight right there. That's the darker one. It's going to be the one over here, and it's going to go maybe here, all the way down to the edge, and then back off the screen over here. See, yeah, it's doing the same thing, so we're going to have to color that in. Okay, 3 fingers will bring it back if you erased it by accident. Let me go back to our inker. And let's just paint this in. And make it a little bit bigger. Okay, that's good. So there we have our 3 different shadow layers and highlight layers on top of that. I think that is good for this one. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add some details into the water next. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick a pure white color. We're going to go to our water level, and that was right here. Water level. We're going to make a layer on top of that, and we're going to clip it like we usually do, clipping mask. So we're only allowed to draw on the water itself. And we're going to get this pure white color here, which is the top row on the very right side. And let me see, what brush do I want to use? It's whatever, I guess it's whatever you feel comfortable with. Maybe this inker streamliner. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this pure white color, and we are on another layer, and we're going to color it in. Oh, that's way too big. Okay, I want it on the top right here all the way across. And then what we're going to do is we're going to follow the edge of the land over here. That, and then it's going to start coming out right here. And if you want to make a tighter point there, just make your brush a little smaller. All right, and then we're going to bring it here. I'm going to do a little jaggy like that. I'm going to finish filling this part in. This streamline, again, like I said before, makes it hard to color in. Let me make this a little bit more pointy. Okay, that looks good. And then let's bring the white part out again about right here. We'll do something like this. What if we can fill this in? Yes, we can. Okay. And then we want to make these tips a little bit pointerly. Just make your brush smaller. Just say I wanted to make it look a little bit more stylized. And then down here at the bottom, we're going to do one more and maybe come out just like that and then fill that in. Okay, I think that's good on that side. So let's do the same thing on this other side. So let's bring it along the edge here. And then we're going to make it come out from the tip. I don't like that. And I erase it right there. And then make it come off and then fill that in. Oh, no, that don't work. It don't work because I started right here. So if I actually took it all the way over to there, now it will work. There we go. Fill those in. If we want to make these sharper, again, make your brush smaller. You can make these a little sharper. Fix this a little bit. That's good. Okay, again, let's do another one coming out about right here. Oops. That's another thing Streamliner does. You got to go slow on these jags or they will kind of try to connect. Fill that in. That's good. and maybe just a little something like that. Okay, so now that's looking really good. Now what I want to do now is, I don't like the way this is kind of jaggy right here, so I'm going to a little bit more straight. There we go. What I'm going to do now is go to that layer, and we're going to click on the little N here. We're going to take the opacity down and take it about down to about 60%. And you can start to see some of the water come through it now. So I like that a little bit better. All right, so we got that. Now let's do the white part around the bottoms of these rocks too. So just on the bottom. There, that looks good. Okay, so now we got our water. I think the water, that's pretty much complete for it. So let's do some details on our mountains. So what I want to do is put some snow on the mountains. So what we're going to do is we're not going to put any snow on the dark parts. So what we can do, you can combine the shadows. So where was our big mountain here? This one, these two, shadow and then the base mountain itself. We can combine those layers. There's two ways you can do that. You can either take your two fingers and pinch them together, or you can click the top layer and you can merge down, and they'll put them two together. Now the shadows are connected to the mountain itself. And then we can do that on the other ones here too. So we're gonna merge that one down to that one, and then we're gonna merge this one down to that one. Okay, now what we can do is we can put a layer on top of that, and this is where our snow is gonna be. So I'm gonna, maybe the monoline brush. I didn't like the way that assisted was messing with my ability to draw with that. So we're going to put some snow on there and then kind of connect it so you'll be able to fill it in. Okay, there's some snow. And then we're going to bring some up higher on this side. And then come around and make sure those are connected so we can fill them in. Okay, that's good. And let's maybe same thing. Make sure you make a loop, circle it around so you can fill it in. Okay, and maybe one more right here. So there's some snow on the bottom, and then maybe some snow is going to get caught on the edge right here too. Oops. Zoom in. Can't see it good, and if we want to get right up to the edge, okay, that looks good. And then maybe some right here. And zoom in to make sure you can get no gaps. Okay, and then maybe a little bit on top here. Fill it in. Yeah, I like it. That looks good. Okay, then we're going to do maybe a little bit on this mountain too. So let's go to this middle one. Yeah, we do a layer on top of that. I'm going to continue with the snow right here. I'm going to kind of overlap that. Come around, make sure you connect it. Go ahead and fill that in. And then maybe one more. I think that's good enough. And then what you can do, I'm not going to put any on this mountain over here. What you can do is if you think it's a little bit too white, you can take the opacity down on it. So maybe 66% on that one. And then on the other one that we did, which is this one. Okay. Was it? Oh, that was the water. That wasn't it. Where was the other snow at? This one. We'll take that down a little bit. And there we go. We got our mountain with snow on it. I think it's looking good so far. I think it's really looking good. It's coming out very nice. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do some trees. So the tree color that I gave you, I think it was this dark color right here, which is the last one on the second row. And then I gave you a tree brush for the tree silhouette here. And of course, we're going to make a new layer. And we're going to put that new layer, I think that's going to go on top of basically everything, but maybe behind the water? I'm not sure. I'm just going to, for right now, I'm just going to go with the very top. And kind of do a test one to see how big it is. So I'm going to do along this edge here, across, and then up that edge over there. So let's see. Maybe that's a little too big, so I'm going to undo that, take the brush size down, maybe 5%. I think that's good. I'm going to go 5%. And then I'm going to try to get it where the base is pretty close to the base of this red rock. About right there. And then we're just going to take them and we can change the size a little bit as we go so they all don't look the same. We're going to take this all the way down the land here, across the water, because there might be some land back there behind the lake. And we're going to take it up the edge over here. Just like that. And if you want to add some more in there, you can just go in here. And if you want to change the size on them, you can do that too, to kind of fill in these gaps. So just up to you. Just give it variety. If you want to do some bigger ones, you can do that too. Maybe a little bit bigger. That's good. Smaller ones, not that small. That was a baby tree. Okay, I think that's good. So we got our line of trees right there. So we're almost done. What we're going to do is we're going to do a little stylized stuff on the sky right here. So what I want to do is find the sky level, which is right here. On top of that, let's do a pure white, which I've given you here on the top. Okay, we made a new layer, right? Okay. And maybe the monoline assisted brush. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some streaks and make our brush a little bit bigger. I'm going to make one going across here. I'm going to make a fatter one going across here. We're going to fill that one in. Okay, maybe a thinner one right here. And then a little bit thicker one. Fill that one in. Okay. Maybe one more thin one just going across like that. Okay, and what we're going to do is take that layer, click on the... That's not the layer. I keep doing this. Change that to normal. That one, where was that? Right here. Click on the little N here. We're going to take the opacity down really far, where we're just barely able to see it. So maybe at 7%. And that just gives the sky a little class to it. Looks nice. Okay, last thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our sun. So again, we want to do on top of the sky, and we want it on top of these white streaks too. So let's just click plus, do one on top of the streaks there. The sun color, we're just going to stick with our white. So we're on a new layer, and then let's put it about here. I'm going to do a circle. Hold the pen down. Touch your finger to it. It'll make a perfect circle. Drag and drop the white in there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate, slide it to the left, hit duplicate. And this one, we're going to click on the magic wrench or the magic wand there, and we're going to Gaussian blur this one. Drag your pen till you can start to see it hazy over there. Okay, that's good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate it one more time. And this one, we're going to click on the magic wand. We're going to do bloom. So drag your pen again. You can see it really starts to put a lot of light off on it. So that's what we want to do. And you can do the size bigger, burn a little bit bigger. Okay, so that kind of makes it look kind of real, actually. Okay, last thing we're going to do is we're going to click. I don't know if I gave you this yellow color. I don't think I gave you that color. So just take maybe an orange color. So let's go to classic. We're going to make an orange color. Drag this over to the orangish. And let's, oops, that didn't work out right. Okay, I want kind of a bright orangish color. Maybe towards the yellow portion. If you want to know the value, it's EAD327. And we're going to go to our soft brush here. We're going to make sure we're on a layer above the sky, but under the white marks there, because we want the white marks to show through. And then we're going to do a big size and make it very opacity down to 30. And let's just kind of give it a little glow from the sun. Okay, I think that's good. There you go. This one took a little while, but it was more in detail. A lot of steps. Took a little bit more skill to do this one than the normal ones we've been doing recently. But that's good because it gives you some more practice and you can just play around with this. But there you go. You now have a new wallpaper for your phone. If you don't know how to upload these, basically, you just put it into your photos on your phone. You go into your settings, you go to background, and then you can change your background picture to put it onto your cell phone. And that is going to be it, guys. I want to thank you for joining me. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Hit the little bell icon. I have new videos coming out every Friday. I'd love to see what you guys do. If you put it on Instagram and tag it with #ChamelDoesArt, #ChamelDoesArt, I'll be able to take a look at it and give you guys some comments on what you made. So other than that, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next video. Take care, guys.